Hello, my name is Jimmy and this is the 2022 Volvo XC90, and it's the extended range because for 2022 or later on in the build years, they've actually increased the range on the XC90 Recharge. Thanks to an increased size of battery from 9.1 kilowatt hour to 14.9, it now allows this XC90 to travel up to 53 kilometers rather than the previous 29 kilometers. That's 33 miles for my American friends. The XC90 was introduced back in 2015 for the 2016 model year, and since then, Volvo has increased the capability and features every year. But this really is the biggest leap. Not only is there more range, but there's also more power. From a total of 400 horsepower that we get before, there's now 455 horsepower and a total of 523 pound-feet of torque. This is a nice bump in power, but it also makes it a little bit faster. As we're nearing the end of 2022 now, for 2023 there are a few changes. Most importantly is the trims. There's no longer the Momentum and Inscription lineup that we get here for the 2022 model. There's now Core, Plus, and Ultimate. And one of the other changes is the inside, but I'll get to that a little bit later. But this 2022 model, I mean, honestly, it doesn't look that far different from, well, the 2016 model. But I think it looks good still. So let's talk about styling a little bit. The front end here is what we typically get in most Volvos. Thor's headlamps, LED of course, and you got that Volvo grille. It's now concave rather than convex as the older models were, but it still looks really good up here. On the side, this XC90 is equipped with the optional 21-inch wheels. Those look quite good. For 2023, I'm not a big fan of the 2023 model styling. You let me know what those wheels look like to you, but they're more aero inspired. Better efficiency, I'm sure, but it's just, in my opinion, it doesn't look the best. You got your recharge port right here. That's where you can plug in your charger. And I mean, pretty normal silhouette of the XC90. Some chrome. I mean, it looks good, doesn't it? What I do like is Volvo has integrated door locks, not only on the front, that's pretty typical, but you also get it on the rear. So even if your car is locked, you're able to, well, get access to the rear very, very easily. And then out back, we just have LED taillights. That always looks good on basically any Volvo products. It's an elegant rear end. You don't get the exhaust tips on the bottom anymore. They have removed that to just make it look a little bit more elegant. Said that before, but I mean, what else are you supposed to describe a Volvo, right? Inside the trunk, it's actually pretty good. With the third row up, we get 12.6 cubic feet of space. Fold them down and that expands to 35.6. And if you fold the second row down, that's 65.5. If you have the XC90 with the optional air suspension, you do have this button here on the side. It actually lowers the floor, making it easier to lift larger items like the stroller into the trunk. There's also a little bit of space under the rear floor, but it's really for like the charge cables and not much more. Sadly, the tonneau cover, it doesn't fit under here neither. So if you are planning to use that third row, do consider that in advance. But it's a good amount of space back here. Like most of the time on an XC90, for people that I've seen use this vehicle, they have that third row down and, well, you can just carry every single one of your passengers within the 5 seats that's available. The third row, well, let's take a look at them just to see exactly how much space there is. As for getting into that third row, it's not difficult. There's a latch right here. Pull, it slides that seat out of the way. I like a manual mechanism versus a more automated one because it's just easier and faster. Getting in, not too difficult. I'm 5'11". I mean, I fit. There's a dome above my head, but I'm not the most comfortable back here. It's definitely designed for maybe smaller people. I mean, it's fine. It's definitely not the most comfortable for me, but if you're shorter, you're gonna be okay. Kids, probably even better. The only thing is you're not able to fit car seats back here. Just there isn't enough space for a rear-facing seat or a forward-facing seat because there isn't upper anchors in the third row. But let's get out of here because it's not that comfortable. As for the second row, well, it's quite comfortable in here. This headliner is very, very beautiful. There's plenty of room. Like I'm 5'11", and I mean, I got enough headroom and legroom down here. So very, very good. What I like is all 3 of these seats, you can adjust them independently. So you can push them forward and back. So to either maximize my legroom back here or whoever's in that third row. And you can do that for the middle seat as well. which is a little stiff, but you can do that. And that's kind of nice if, for example, you're using this integrated booster for your little one. You can have them a little bit closer to you in the front, which is just nice because, well, kiddos, they want to be closer to the action. They want to be closer to you. This way, you can still have them in the booster and still be safe. The seats here, they can recline a little bit. There's heated seats, and we got quad zone climate control here as well. So very, very comfortable. I got vents on the side. I got baby shades up here. It's a great place to be. If you are carrying child seats, here's a collect link on the driver's side. As you can see, there's no problems getting this infant carrier in here. As for the passenger side here, I have a collect fifth, which is a rearward facing seat. And thanks to the headrest on the front, there's plenty of space for this seat. Me at 5'11", I'm still able to sit in front of this child seat with no problems. Because this XC90 is wide enough, you're able to fit a third seat in the center. So if you have 3 little ones, you're still able to carry them in comfort in the XC90. But let's head up to the front. As for the front seats, superbly comfortable up here. They're heated, they're cooled, and with the optional package that this vehicle has, also massaging. So very, very comfortable. The massaging, I mean, it only does what it needs to do. It's like a little bit of pushing here and there, but it's not like a full-on massage chair, so don't expect that. But it's still very, very comfortable for longer journeys. Up front, I got this dual-tone steering wheel, which I do absolutely love. It's very, very nice. There's not that many buttons on the wheel, but it controls everything that you need, from like your radio to the adaptive cruise control. Behind that, well, you got a nice digital cluster. It's variable, so you can change it depending on like drive modes, as well as, well, just the different themes that is built in. It's quite nice, actually. It's not as full feature rich as like Mercedes or BMW in terms of just how customizable it is, but I think for a cluster where you really need to see your speed and maybe some of the engine parameters, this is absolutely fine. You can have your map in the center and your radio station. I mean, what more do you really need? I think it's absolutely fine. Above, heads-up display that shows you your speed, navigational information, just a little bit more, but it's a very simple system. It doesn't have like a tack or anything like that. As for the infotainment, I mean, it does look a little bit small in today's standard, but I still think it's quite usable. And the vertical position, the portrait screen, I like it. It's just, well, more usable. It's kind of like a phone, right? So you're able to control everything that you need. And this infotainment here, because it's still powered by the Volvo system, it's actually the last of its kind. For 2023, they are moving to the Google system that's found in like the XC90 Recharge and a bunch of other Volvo products. So this, well, it's the last of this older Volvo system. It still works. And there's Apple CarPlay, so I can plug in my phone and have it projected. On the Google system, at this moment, you can't have CarPlay, but that is going to be coming later. I was told by a Volvo rep that, they promise it's coming. So it's not that much of a compromise, if any. The Google system, it does work well. The Google Assistant, it's just very helpful. The only thing is you do have to have a subscription, whereas this, you don't. So if you're thinking longer term, this might be a little bit better. As for the rest of the cabin, it's just quality materials and everything. It's just really well done. The stitching, the Bowers & Wilkins audio system, just everything feels great. The wood, the leather, the crystal shift knob, it's just all nice in here. Don't really have any complaints. It's a very simple interior. However, some people might say that it's too simple and they want more pizzazz out of it. For example, like Mercedes and BMW, they have like really colorful ambient lighting. Well, this does have ambient lighting. It doesn't like just blow on your face, where at night you kind of just want to turn that system off. This Volvo, it's designed for safety. So that ambient lighting, it is an ambient lighting. So only like in darker places do you see it projected. It's not something that just surrounds every single piece of like, vent and whatnot to really just shine all those millions of colors in your face. It's not designed for that. This, elegant. But let's go for a drive and feel what this XC90 feels like. On the road with the XC90. As this new powertrain, we have 455 horsepower now. You would think it's blazing. I mean, it's pretty quick. Like a 0 to 60, they have timed it to about like 4.5 seconds, which honestly, it's more than quick enough. But you're not going to be using this because it's fast. I mean, it does have a drive mode here, which does say power for sportier driving. But like I said, most people that's going to be buying this won't care for that. They care about, well, the range. Like I said, this has been updated. With the bigger battery, you get more range, and it actually makes more sense now. I mean, yes, the previous model at like 30 odd kilometers of range, I mean, it's fine for really short trips, but for most people, you're going to be using gasoline to assist that electrical powertrain. But really, with this much range now, you don't have to really think about it. You just, well, you can leave it on hybrid, or you can put it into pure, which is the eco driving mode, which basically just sticks it into EV so it doesn't really use any fuel. I just leave it on hybrid and it's absolutely fine. It's a very pleasant driving experience. The crossover, it's pretty seamless, I would say, as long as the engine is a little bit more warmed up. Initially, in the cold, it might not be the best. But like I said, with the extended range now, you don't really transition to that. And what's nice is, unlike some other plug-in hybrid vehicles, this one can run on full electric in cold and in the hot. Like, it was 30 some odd degrees here in Vancouver. I had the AC turned down to like 18 degrees and it was fine. Engine didn't kick on, it was running purely on full electric. And just for fun, I did turn up the heating all the way to max, have it warm up the cabin, and once again, the engine didn't start. So it doesn't need, at least with my testing here, it doesn't need the motor to warm or cool the cabin in kind of that extremes, which is definitely very nice because there are many other plug-in hybrids that do need that. So this, you technically can run with almost no gasoline, as long as you don't travel too far, of course. But when you do floor it, when we do want a little bit more of that performance, if you're looking at your speedometer or your tachometer or just your power meter, I guess, here in an electric vehicle, well, as long as you remain within that electrical range, it's never going to power on that gasoline motor. And when it's kind of maxed out, it actually pushes you back in your seat decently well. I mean, it's not like a 300 horsepower monster or anything like that, but you know, everyday traffic, keeping up, or even just merging onto the highway, it's more than good enough on pure electrical power alone. And that's definitely a good thing. Where it kind of falls short is because it is a heavier SUV, in the turns, well, you're just going to feel that extra weight. I mean, the steering is super light. It's very, very good around town, but it does lack kind of that feel that, well, some people might want. It's definitely not an engaging driving experience, but once again, I don't think that's something that Volvo engineers were aiming for when they produced this vehicle. It's nothing, really. That wasn't anything that was on their minds, because why? It doesn't make sense. Overall, the XC90 is just one elegant machine. It gives you everything that you need for a family SUV. Sure, there are better performance vehicles out there, like the BMW X5 It has that high performance inline six. This, I mean, in a straight line, it can kind of keep up with it, I think. It's not going to fall flat on its face. But, you know, in terms of just driving dynamics, the X5 is definitely better. But for a family SUV, does that really matter? And at this price range, 103,000 Canadian dollars, you're more than likely to be able to afford a second vehicle, a sportier vehicle. For those that want that better driving experience, you're going to take that. You're not going to take a family SUV for it. I mean, if it's your only vehicle, maybe, but at $103,000, you're very likely to be able to afford a second vehicle that can do those things. But this, as a family vehicle, being able to carry 3 seats across the back here, and just the amount of space that you have behind that second row, and even behind the third row, I think it's a great, great package overall. Sure, it's not as performance orientated, but like I said, I just don't think that's really an issue. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video and joining me on this XC90 Recharge adventure. And if you have any comments, questions, or anything like that, leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. And yeah, thank you so much for coming along with me. Have a great day, and we'll see you later.